the beginning. They've just been telling us what to say. We always hold the most talked about topic until the end.
Yeah. You know, we're going to talk about Taylor for the rest of the show.
For sure.
But there isn't. But there isn't, like, I don't think there's anything new that we can add. I wrote a whole column today. Page 3 was all about Taylor. People want to know, like, your thoughts on it. You spoke with Taylor as well. You spoke to her Sunday night. I spoke to her last night. So just let people in on on your overall thoughts of what's happened and what's going forward, and then I'll throw in some more thoughts that I have.
I like talk about what we talked about on the phone.
Yeah.
I don't want to go too much into our phone call. I'll tell you what my advice was for her. I thought specifically that what would be important in her apology, which, let me stress, I don't put a lot of stock into any apologies. I think most apologies are not a reflection of like what people are going to do in the future. Like, I think a lot of times people just say things and then they never follow through.
Yeah.
So what I said I thought Taylor should really get through in her apology is she would have to take every group that was offended and hurt by those tweets, and she would have to specifically tailor that apology to them and show them how all this work that she's supposedly done has led her to believe different things about those groups, because otherwise, like, an apology just doesn't ring true. That did not happen that first night, as everyone knows. I thought that the tweet that the apology that she came out with yesterday was much better, but wasn't at all, you know, that is not all she should say on the subject, nor is it any sort of, like, it doesn't rectify the situation in any way. Like, this is something that is going to take a really long time for her to get people to trust her again, if they even want to. It's going to take a really long time for her to address all the groups that she did hurt and offend.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing, I think one of the things is, you know, I tried to make it as clear as I could today. Maybe I wasn't great at expressing it, but Taylor's tweets, which haven't been deleted. I don't know why. You got an email.
Yeah.
I got an email saying she deleted her tweets. No, she didn't. They're still up. I found them after I got that email. I was like, wait a second, let me do this advanced Twitter search, and they were all there. So she has not deleted her tweets. I told her last night I think she should. Her response was, everyone's already got them screenshot anyway. Why does it matter if I delete them or not? Didn't think that was a great answer. Told her that. I don't think she was 100% like, no way am I ever doing it. But she was like, yeah, maybe. She kind of left it at like, yeah, maybe I should. I've just got a lot, you know, I've got so much on my plate right now. And it probably will take her about hours, since there's fucking 300 tweets. It's going to take her a long time to delete that many tweets, because she's going to have to go and find all of them. So there's that. Her tweets were hateful. They weren't just racist. It came from a place of serious hatred. So, and I know maybe this sounds cliche to people or whatever, but we don't need to combat Taylor's hateful tweets with more hate. And that's not me saying, hey, lay off my friend. It's not doing anybody any good for you to sit there and call Taylor a bitch, or send her a death threat, or tell her she's a stupid N-word for what she wrote. She knows that. Like, I think she knows that what she wrote was wrong. But to combat it with more hate is not doing anybody any good. If every single one of you that has emailed me pretty much has had major problems with what Taylor tweeted, as you should. So all I ask of you is, if you are bothered by what Taylor did and you are triggered by what Taylor did, and you were one of those marginalized groups that she called out and just took a fucking flamethrower to, the only thing I can tell you is then don't follow her. Don't listen to her podcast. Don't, donate anything to her. Don't buy any of her lube and dildos and all that stuff that she sells on her Instagram story if that's going forward. Just be like, I'm done. I'm done with her.
But this is important to say. I think a lot of times when we do these lives, we always follow it with actions you can take, like a call to action. And I do think that it is important for us to have one for her too. And so that would be, she does not have a job within Bachelor Nation like the other people we have talked about. So what I would suggest here is that she would not be able to speak on authority in terms of social justice within Bachelor Nation anymore. Maybe in the future, depending on what we see her do, but I do not think she could do that anymore right now. You can unfollow her. You can unfollow her podcast. I saw someone said, I think she should Venmo everyone their money back if they donated to her. If you're someone who has Venmo'd her money and you do feel like you want your money back, I'm sure that you could send her an email about that. I'm trying to think of another one. I've seen some people say the stuff about her license. I don't know how that works in terms of a therapist. I'm sure there's like a board that she has to deal with.
Yeah, there's a good chance she's losing her job. Yeah. And again, I just took a quick glance at the comments, and it's like, why aren't you holding Taylor to the same standards as Chris and Rachel? Did you not read anything that I wrote today? Did you not hear what I said?
I think there's just some people in the comments who just came here with like one goal and one goal only, and I've never seen them like comment here before. So just skip over whatever it is they're saying.
I'm not defending her. I'm saying you don't need to combat her hateful, disgusting, vile tweets with more hate. Just let it go. In terms of, you don't have to tell her anything. If you want to tell her something or fire off an email to her, by all means, tell her how disappointed, like I did to her. I told her last night how disappointed I was in her and how much she let me down. Because I just had her on the fucking show 2 weeks ago, and I'm telling people to give her money. So at the time, did I know that she had sent those tweets? Absolutely not. So, but now, yeah, it's disappointing. And somebody, she has helped me a lot. I've spent hours on the phone with Taylor the last 6 months, and she's helped me a lot, sending me links to articles, anti-racist articles, podcasts to listen to, books to read, names of authors, YouTube clips. Her helping me with that doesn't change because of her racist tweets, because those things still helped me. Her racist tweets, pretty much for me going forward, are just like, I'm gonna put a little bit of a stop to my affiliation with Taylor. I will talk to her on occasion, but is she going to be on the podcast again? No, she's not. I have nothing to talk to her about with this, and people don't want to hear her.
Well, and here's the thing too. I think she kept on saying like, I've done the work and stuff like that. But here's the thing. I know that these tweets are in the past, and now she's like done the work, and she's saying she doesn't think that anymore. However, whenever you have to preface your racism with like an excuse like that, people are just going to focus on those words. And so now she's going to have to do additional work to show how she got to this place. Do you know what I mean? I think here's what I wish would have happened. I wish she kind of would have used her tweets from the beginning as a way to show people, I used to be this way, and then I am now anti-racist.
Yeah, if her tweets came out that way, as opposed to some alt-right group finding them and putting them and exposing her. Yeah.
Yes, and so actually, I think that if she had always used that as her platform, she could have gotten through to so many people in the past 4 years, because I think there's been like a huge division because of that, because people who had those views back in the day didn't really see like how people could get out of that, you know? So if she would have shown them, I used to think this way, now I think this way, that could have been really powerful. However, now because it's been exposed to us, it's hard to get over.
Yeah.
And I just,
look, I don't fault anybody that has an opinion that they can't stand Taylor Nolan anymore. I'm not telling you to change your opinion whatsoever. Like everyone, and I understand why people have that opinion of that because of what they saw. And especially if you're one of those people that it did affect. I had people come to me today and say, I was in those marginalized group that she talked about, and I'm disgusted by what she wrote. I said, yeah, you should be. There's no excuse. I've never defended her once for what she wrote. Not at all. All I'm saying is we talk about accountability. We talk about accountability for Rachel Kirkconnell. We talk about accountability for Chris Harrison. Now, Taylor is just in that group with Rachel Kirkconnell and Chris Harrison. We need to hold her accountable. She's going to lose her sponsorships. There's a good chance she's going to lose her sponsorships. So she is being affected by what she did already. We have no idea about how the practice works and her license and if that gets taken away. It's very well possible that she could. But what I'm saying is if she does lose her job and she has lost sponsors on her podcast, I don't think it's right to revel in it and tell her good or you suck, you deserve this. You don't, the whole point of just combating her hate with your hate. How does that make you any better than her if you just spew hate at her? You're mad at her for spewing hate on Twitter. Absolutely, you have every right to be. But if then you just spew hate at her and call her names and tell her you suck and you're a bitch and
wait, and people are saying we didn't do this with Chris Harrison and Rachel K, but we have 100% always said never to send anyone any sort of hate. Like I don't know how you could even believe that. Like,
yeah. And if you continue to, I mean, like I said, you can every one of you affected by Taylor Nolan, you can easily, quote unquote, get back at her by just never contributing to anything that she does. That's all you have to do. And that is holding her accountable. Really, Taylor, you want to say these things? Well, fuck you. I'm not listening to you anymore. I don't want to hear what you have to say about anything. They have every right to do that. And so that's how we're going to hold Taylor accountable. I don't think Taylor is going to be on a media tour doing stuff. Like she's, based on my conversation with her last night, it certainly doesn't seem like she's going to take a step back. She needs to. Her mental health is not very good right now. It was just ironic that on Thursday or Friday of last week, she posted those still photos of her crying and just admitting it's okay not to be okay. That was before any of this broke. So she was at the edge of, and if you heard her on my podcast 2 weeks ago, she was tired of all the people running to her and Rachel Lindsay like, oh, as the champions for speaking up for people of color in this franchise and getting shit for it. Like she was basically in the same boat as Rachel Lindsay up until Sunday. It was these people, all they did, they don't do anything but try and educate people and get shit on. And she was there. And then this came. Her mental health isn't great right now. And she should get off social media. I told her to delete her Instagram. And if she doesn't, just don't post anything on it. Nobody wants to see her post any ads. Nobody wants to see her give her thoughts sitting on her couch about what she thinks of the Women Tell All. She shouldn't talk about this franchise anymore. She should be done with it. If she doesn't lose her license and she continues with the podcast, then your podcast should all be focused on topics that you discussed in your tweets. And the flamethrower you took to these marginalized groups, you should probably have someone from each of those groups on your podcast as a guest in the future. Like that's how we want to be held accountable. That's what she needs to do.
Yeah.
At least that's what I think she needs to do.
I saw someone, this was way back in the comments, but someone was saying they didn't know if Taylor had done the work for every group that she had made the racist tweets about. And